Sydney's Northlane recently concluded a 10-stop regional tour which took them all over the country, ending in a tiny little town called Forth in northern Tasmania. I was there to watch the boys and their regional tour support bands Reliqa and Heartline. Northlane have been at the forefront of Australia's metalcore scene since 2009, and I have been a fan from the start. And it's been an absolute privilege to have watched them evolve and grow into the sonic superstars that they are today. One of the things that I love about Northlane is, despite their renown and big city roots, they are never too cool to connect with their fans out in the sticks, if you will. So the venue was interesting. It's just this really tiny town about 10 minutes out of Devonport. And I guess it sort of is set to service all of northern Tasmania. And like, I was standing at the front of the venue and literally I saw 2 tractors roll past this pub. Like, that's how rural it was. So it's fascinating that this Sydney band would come and play somewhere like that. But I love that about these guys. It was a really great setup for live music, though. Lots of space, bar, and like plenty of room for a circle pit, in fact, which was utilised to full extent. I'm pretty sure Northlane have played there before. They did another regional tour a year or two ago, and I saw them on that when they came to Hobart. They actually played in Hobart the night before I saw them up in Forth, but I was recovering from a nasty cold that I'd had all week, so I wasn't well enough to see them in Hobart, but I didn't want to miss out, so I travelled up north just to see the boys. Plus, you know, a different venue is always fun.
So Belle, tell me about the support band. You said there were 2 on the bill. I don't recognise either of the names, so tell me what they were like and who they are.
So the first band to hit the stage were called Heartline. They're from Adelaide, and they are just a young, enthusiastic, kind of alternative style metal band. Great singer who is an absolute natural frontman. I know that 2 things aren't necessarily the same things. Yeah, they're pretty new to the scene. I think they've released 1 EP 2024 and a single last year, I believe. Their sound I would put in the bucket, which is a very big bucket, and a broad one called Zoomer music, and that's just my term because it's the youthful sounding kind of, and it could be any kind of genre, but it's there's a certain sound of young bands that are coming out today. I think you know what I mean. Like, it's just it's very hard to explain, but they're in that bucket, and it doesn't necessarily mean I don't like it. It's just not really my go-to type of music. I just appreciate that fact that the younger generation are still putting out good music. It makes total sense that Northlane took this band on tour. I can see some of the similarities, like the aspects of the band. They were punchy, sometimes almost dance-like beats, plenty of electronic kind of underlays that would rise to the surface when the song called for it. They're less heavy than Northlane, but that doesn't mean that their sound was soft. It just means you can't really label them metalcore. Don't remember how many songs are on their set, maybe 5 or 6, but what I do remember is that, they're the first band on. Most people were already there, but, it was early in the night and people tend not to be, especially if they don't know a band. I'm not sure how many people knew this band, but they certainly, I think they won some fans over, and they won over the crowd because at the start, most people were sort of standing there and maybe nodding their head, and the singer, he was just persistent. He's like, everyone get into it, jump around. You know, he was really good at sort of engaging with the crowd, and by the end of it, he had the crowd going. So props to him and the band. I think they definitely won some fans over.
Okay, so the first band sounded pretty cool. Who were the second band? Tell me about them.
Reliqa, another young but a bit more experienced band. They've been doing their thing for a few years now. They've got a few releases under their belt. Yeah, these guys have definitely a genty kind of sound. Very low-end driven, funky, somewhat aggressive. And the front woman, Monique, has a vocal style that is just uniquely her. But if I were to compare her with anyone, it would be not wholly, but just she reminded me a bit of Brandon Boyd from Incubus, maybe early Incubus, like mix of singing and speaking, not quite rapping, but just kind of close. And her vocal melody is really nice, exotic, and she nails everything beautifully live. So really another natural front person, and she was actually really fun to watch. She was one with her band, but obviously, you know, she was the focus. She's front and center with the mic, and you know, she wasn't standing there. She was no wallflower. She was like getting into it, and just a good front person. The band themselves, seriously talented. Again, not really my thing stylistically, but their set was entertaining because they're just really excellent musicians and songwriters. And they seem to like playing around a bit in the kind of harmonic minor type scales, which I'm a huge fan of. So their music grabbed my ear in that way, at least.
Okay, so the two support bands have had their sets. Leads us into the main event, Belle. You're wearing the t-shirt, you're a big fan of the band. Tell me all about the Northlane set.
Northlane are just great live. I have seen them 3 times now, and they have put on a fantastic show each time. The set list was great. It wasn't an album tour, this one, because their last album, Obsidian, that was released way back in 2022, and then they had an EP, The Mirror's Edge, and that was released 2 years ago. It was April 2024. So the set list was mostly songs from Obsidian and then the previous album, Alien, and then the rest was just grabs from other releases, including The Mirror's Edge. Most importantly of all, they played my favourite song of theirs, 4D. So if anyone watching this hasn't actually heard Northlane, this is probably a really good example of everything they do put into the one song. You'll get a sense of what they're about. So if you don't like the song 4D, you probably won't like Northlane as a band, I would say. They're metalcore, but I feel that it doesn't seem good enough a description for them. Metalcore's not really a genre that I like, at least not anymore. Back in the day, back in the sort of 2000s, when it was becoming big, you know, your Kill Switch Engage, Trivium, Unearth, Norma Jean, those sorts of bands, like it was all kind of new and exciting, and each band had their own thing. But now the genre it's really samey, don't you think?
I could go on and on about it.
Yes, yes.
I know.
Yeah, well, I happen to agree. But Northlane, they keep their sound fresh and evolving. Their guitarist, their lead guitarist and leading songwriter, John Dealey, he's a bit of a raver, and so he's responsible for bringing that kind of electronic dance, I guess, element into Northlane's music and incorporating with the metal so well. So he's up there on stage with his guitar and his sequencer, like he's got, 2 instruments going, and just the wall of sound in the live environment is immense. Josh, the other guitarist, rhythm guitarist, is doing his thing to fill it out to Nick Peterson, who is, in my opinion, one of the best drummers I've ever seen live or heard on recording. He's just classy as, and Marcus Bridge, who is not one of, but in my opinion, who is the best metalcore singer out there today globally. I just get this sense of pride. It's kind of silly, but watching him on stage or even on video, I just, one, because he's Australian, and 2, because I know, as do Northlane fans, like what an appalling upbringing he had. And but he's up there, he's successful, confident, talented and hardworking, and he pours everything he has into every note that he sings, and I've just heard him improve over time, and I love him for that. And he also looks a lot like my eldest son, so at the end of every gig, I just have this overwhelming sense of like running up and just giving him this big mum hug. We should probably freak him out. So let's hope I never see him on the street, because it'll be his craziest fan encounter yet, I'm sure.
So you mentioned metalcore and how it's changed over the years, and I like Trivium and some of the earlier bands, but modern metalcore, I could go on and on about how samey it is. But Northlane does stand out to me. It took a bit of a while to actually get it, but once I got it. So I can appreciate that they are a good band. And there are some songs that I actually quite like. So I have to ask, did they play Echo Chamber? Because that is a cool song.
Did.
They did?
Yes, it is. Oh, it's amazing live. I heard it. They played it on all 3 sets that I've seen them playing, and I mean, it's a great song. It's a crowd favorite. They get everyone singing. It's awesome live. Yeah, they do the song justice live. They do all their songs justice live, but yeah, as soon as they start playing that one, yeah, it's very exciting, like any fan favorite song. Northlane are pretty prolific when it comes to putting out albums. Since 2011, which was their first, they put one out every 2 years pre-COVID, and then they had one in 2022 and then the EP in 2024. So if they're following that pattern, then there should be new music in the works soon. He's hoping. I do know that they've gone back home for a couple of weeks, and then they're going out on a big US tour, and then over to Europe and the UK as well, which will take them right through to Christmas. I was having a look at their kind of upcoming concerts on Spotify, so I don't know what that means for new music, but hopefully they've either kind of got some down or they'll do some next year, and we could get a surprise album in the new year. Who knows? They've done that before, actually, just dropped an album unexpectedly, although there were hints in hindsight anyway. that would be nice. Anyway, new music from Northlane.
Brings us to the end of this video of Bell's review of Northlane's concert in Tasmania. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more concert reviews, album reviews, Metal on Trial, where we check out the first 60 seconds of new metal releases each week. Lots of content, so it'd be cool if you could like and subscribe. And until then, we will see you in the darkness.
Thank you so much for having me on. We'll see you later.